Manchester City looking for back-to-back wins after going 7 games without a win. We've finally got one under our belt, and now we're looking for back-to-back wins against Crystal Palace. It will not be easy, but we've got a pretty good record against Crystal Palace. Very good, in fact, having only lost 2 games in 18 matches versus Crystal Palace, and those 2 came at the Etihad. We always seem to struggle against Crystal Palace at home, but away from home, we've got a reasonably good record. Usually picking up the win, to be honest. It's never a comfortable win, though, and it's not an easy place to go. They do make a generous atmosphere. It's quite a hostile place to go to when the crowd's bouncing. They've got those ultras down in the bottom corner, haven't they, that bang their drum and give it large. And teams have gone there and struggled in the past. You're thinking of Istanbul. Who remembers that back in 2014? Liverpool 3-0 up at half-time to balls it up, completely ballsed it up, Liverpool, in a title race towards the end of the season. Right now we're at the beginning of the season, but Liverpool 3-0 up at half-time, sending Luis Suarez into fits of despair and tears pouring down his face, consoled by the likes of Steven Gerrard and Manuel Pellegrini's Manchester City go on to lift the Premier League title. 2014, mate, that was 10 years ago, so I mean there's a lot of football that's taken place since then. Manchester City are obviously a very well-established title-winning side now, not 1 year on, 2 years off. Now it's almost every year we're expected to win the league. Can we do it this year, though? Because, I mean, the damage that's been done, the gap between Liverpool and Manchester City, as well as the teams in between us right now, because we're not even in second place, are we? We've got Arsenal and Chelsea to catch, first of all. That should be the realistic target, in all honesty. But Liverpool opened a little bit of a door to us in terms of the points gap, lowering it from 11 to 9, thankfully. So thank you very much for doing that, Liverpool. I mean, is it over, though? I don't believe it is entirely over, but it's going to be incredibly difficult. This will be Pep Guardiola's greatest Premier League title achievement ever, if he goes on to, including the 100 points, because we walked it that year. Walked it. You know, even the 4 in a row was incredibly difficult because it was following the treble season. How do you go on again? A 5th in a row would be absolutely remarkable. But in terms of form, who we're going up against, Crystal Palace's form as well, they've turned a little bit of a corner. Have Manchester City turned a corner? There's a long road around that corner that we've got to go down before we can officially say we've turned that corner. But have Crystal Palace already turned a corner as well? Because they're doing all right. They've only lost 1 in their previous 6 games, so they're doing okay. They picked up a bit of a scrappy win against Ipswich in the 1-0 game at the previous game weekend, and Oliver Glasner actually said he wasn't happy with their performance. So the fact that they picked up a 1-0 away win, I was thinking, oh, maybe they might rest on their laurels a little bit. But the fact that Oliver Glasner's got them coming out firing again, he's going to be getting them to play to the best of their ability against Manchester City. Saying things like that after a win is very Pep style, isn't it? Keeps them going. You know, doesn't let them relax, get complacent. So it's going to be a really difficult game for Manchester City. It really is. But City's form, before the Forest game at least, winless in 7. Losing 6 of those 7 and conceding 19 goals in the process. Yeah, that happened. That actually happened. But, I mean, this is the game for me. The Forest game was a fantastic game. We beat Forest. 3 different goal scorers. None of them were Erling Haaland. I think that's a good thing, to be honest, for the sake of the squad, the team going forward. And then, of course, you've got to factor in the clean sheet as well. Brilliant. It was a brilliant night. But I feel like it'll be ruined if we don't even get 3 points. If a draw is not good enough, you know, because I'm expecting Liverpool to bounce back. They've got Everton, the lunchtime kickoff this Saturday. When then 2.5 hours later, we go and face Crystal Palace away from home. So you're expecting Liverpool to go to Everton and win that game. I will be doing a watch-along as well, so come and join me for that one. What a game this promises to be. I mean, a huge moment in Manchester City's season, because this is the game, if we win, it's back-to-back wins. All of a sudden, the previous games have been, not forgotten, but forgiven by the Manchester City fans at least. And I mean, we move forward now, and then we go forward with it, hopefully, a winning streak. Eradicating that sour taste in our mouths from the losing streak that we went on. It would be amazing to get back-to-back wins. It would be so good. Midfield choices for Manchester City are interesting because I'm looking at the injury list right now in front of me in terms of who's missing. So I'll give you the City injury news to start with. Pep was pretty cold and bleak in his pre-match press conference. Very one-wordy, wasn't he? Very subdued a little bit, wasn't he, Pep? And I like that version of Pep, to be honest. Gives nothing away. Just stay quiet now, mate. And I think that's probably a little bit of an aftermath for doing all this, you know, to the fans, getting involved with fans and things like that. Just don't get involved, mate. It only exaggerates the problems. It makes it worse. We can just keep it quiet, just say nothing. And I loved his pre-match press conference. Totally boring. Boring. One word answers. Get to the point. It lasted about 30 seconds, that pre-match press conference, and I loved it. That's what we needed. Something like that. Stop giving the media ammunition to write headlines about us. It prevents that, so I liked it. In terms of what he actually said, though, he said Nathan Ake is out. The best news coming out of that was a Akanji, we will see. I think that was a clue as to the fact that he's actually okay, so we don't have a defensive crisis. We've lost one player, which Nathan Ake barely makes through 5 or 6 games in a row, does he? So he usually picks up an injury. Obviously, John Stones as well is added to that list. Rodri is the usual, Oscar Bob as well. Kovacic isn't to be expected back to Manchester City until probably the end of December, in all honesty, from what I'm hearing. And Phil Foden's still suffering from bronchitis, but I mean, we did not miss him. We did not miss him against Nottingham Forest, not one bit, to be honest. Which brings into the question, will Kevin De Bruyne get his start? Another start, back-to-back starts, because Pep, again, little reading between the lines here. I'm making it up as I go along, in all honesty, but my interpretation of what Pep Guardiola was suggesting, he said, what about Kevin De Bruyne? Is he fit to start? And he says, well, we don't have many players. Hint, hint. That he's probably going to start. To me, that was great news, because we need him to start in this game. He's so important. He was so important last season in our 4-2 win at Selhurst Park, because I think we went 1-0 down, if memory serves me, and he responded in about 5 minutes by battering one into the top corner. Kevin De Bruyne did last time we were at Selhurst Park, so hopefully you can hope for we'll see some sort of repetition from a Kevin De Bruyne thunder bastard at Selhurst Park. Jack Grealish is the other one for me, has to start in the middle for Manchester City, because, I mean, he did the world of good for his reputation as a central midfielder. It was under question. There was question marks over whether he could maintain that position in midfield. He answered all those questions with aplomb. Against Nottingham Forest. It was a beautiful performance from Jack Grealish. Palace, injuries. Chadi Riyad is out. Adam Wharton is out as well. So again, and Matthias França, again, he's a baller, mate. He is a good player. Very quick, very agile. A dribbling speed demon. He's out, as well as Adam Wharton. So there's 2 key players for Palace that are missing. Daichi Kamada as well is back from suspension after serving a 3-match suspension. But let's have a quick look at the predicted starting 11s for Crystal Palace and Manchester City. I'm going to start with Palace. So Dean Henderson in goal. They usually have that back 5, it'll probably be, at the back with Lacroix as the middleman of the back 3. Alongside him is Mark Gay, someone we should be looking at, by the way. Mark Gay is someone we should be looking at. He's played in midfield this season numerous times for Crystal Palace, in fact. He's wearing the number 6 for a reason. He is a left-footed centre-back. And I think with Nathan Ake's injury problems, I think we do need to consider a left-footed centre-back who can push into midfield. Mark Gay is someone Manchester City should absolutely be looking at in the summer as a potential replacement for either Ake or Stones. Quality player, and hopefully has a stinker against us. Alongside Lacroix is Chalobah. No funny accent for that one, because I don't know where to begin with it. But Jefferson Lerma in the middle. I think he'll come back in for Crystal Palace in the middle of the park alongside Decore. The wing-backs are mostly going to be back, I would presume. You're hoping so, but again, maintaining the width for Crystal Palace will be Daniel Munoz and Tyrick Mitchell on the opposite side for them as well. They will have that Eberechi Eze inverted a little bit. They have very narrow number 10s, don't they, with Ismail Sarr being the other one more often than not this season. You could see Nketiah coming in there, but more often than not it's been Ismail Sarr alongside Eze in that advanced midfield position. And Jean-Philippe Matater, which is a wonderful French name to pronounce in the accent. I can't deny I enjoy pronouncing that. Manchester City. Come on, City. Ortega, surely. 3rd game in a row, 3rd Premier League game in a row, in the bags for Manchester City. Now, with Nathan Ake being missing, out for God knows how long, it sounds like it's going to be another month, potentially, with it being a hamstring injury. What do we do? What do we do at the back for City? So I'm going to stick with Ruben Diaz in the middle. Let's go with the back 4. And I think that means Kyle Walker has to play as the centre-back. Sorry, not the centre-back, as the right-back. Take that back. Manuel Akanji as the centre-back. Because I was thinking in my head, if we didn't have Akanji, because there was rumours that Akanji, because he went off at half-time against Forest, so I'm hoping Akanji is fit. If not, there's a whole different system that needs to be played because of Rico Lewis's involvement and Kyle Walker's involvement. If Akanji's not fit, you could see Rico Lewis at left back. He played there against Brighton, so it's doable. Not great, but doable. And then, of course, Josko Gvardiol. So this is the system without the ball I'm going to go with. Then in the middle, I think we'll see İlkay Gundogan again. He's been burnt out, mate. I mean, for a player of his age, getting the amount of minutes, must, mate. Who else? There's no other options right now, so he has to play. It's a difficult season for Gundogan, this really is. Jack Grealish alongside him, and then Kevin De Bruyne the other side of him in that midfield three. Again, without the ball, this is. On the right, I'm going to go with... This is pretty much the same team, barring Kyle Walker, basically. So it's the same team I'm going to go with that beat Forest. Jeremy Doku on the right. Bernardo Silva on the left. And Erling Haaland up top. Now, Bernardo Silva on the left will... So with the ball, you'll see City do some sort of system like that. Doku maintains his width. Bernardo Silva pushing into the middle. Into the middle alongside Kevin De Bruyne, Jack Grealish and İlkay Gundogan maintaining the width. Gvardiol pushing forward, as he so often does. You'll have to swap Ruben Diaz and Akanji round and play Akanji the left centre-back and Kyle Walker the right centre-back. Not ideal having Manuel Akanji on the left centre-back position for Manchester City, but I don't know. I'd rather see Kyle Walker for his speed against the likes of Eberechi Eze, because I think Rico Lewis has been struggling the last couple of games. But that's my predicted starting 11 for Manchester City. That's what I want to see. What do you want to see? What are your predictions for the game? I'm going to go 3-1 City. I'm hoping for a clean sheet. It would be absolutely wonderful to get a clean sheet, but I think Palace at home, I mean, it's a tough game. It's going to be a tough game. What's your predictions? Get in the comments below. Let us know your thoughts. Like and subscribe to Typical City, and I'll see you in the next one.
This is Typical City now, holding up Silva.